Here we have the contents of the Colonial Marine Armour kit from Chef's Creations, and it consists of chest and back plates. We have 2 sets of shoulder plates, epaulettes, bells and tabs for left and right shoulders. We have the hidden shoulder bridge. We have abdominal and low back plates, a crotch plate, 2 knee plates, and also 2 sets of shin armour, each consisting of front and back plates. To hold all of this together, the kit also includes all of the straps, rivets and other fasteners that you'll need. The one thing that isn't included is the vinyl abdominal pad. This will sit beneath the chest armour and will have the crotch plate down at the bottom once the kit is finished. This was also available from Chef's Creations, so I got it at the same time. Now, the condition of the plastic is pretty good, really. Most of the waste has been removed after these have been taken from the vac forming machine. There's a bit of a rough edge that will need sanding down on pretty much all the components. On some of the larger pieces, you'll see there's more of a pronounced lip that will need trimming back before that's sanded, and that is what I'm going to progress to doing now, and I'll show you how it goes. I've now finished smoothing off all the rough edges on the kit, and it was quite straightforward really, just a couple of evenings work. The plastic is relatively soft actually, and that means sandpaper just takes off all the burrs quite easily. And when it comes to the larger lips that, for example, ran down the edge of the shin guards and the chest plate, just a simple pair of side cutters. This is the pair I use. There's nothing special about them. Just took it nice and slowly, trimming along the edge, and I didn't need to worry about the plastic splintering at all. So all in all, probably about 6 hours to get them into this state. And the next step is to drill all the holes that will take the rivets that will then hold the kit together. The back plate requires most work at this stage. To start with, I've got 2 slots in these tabs for webbing to pass through. I've got another slot here for another piece of webbing to lead to one of the hidden shoulder plates. I'm not 100% sure of the need for this, but unfortunately the photos I'm working off at this stage are very small, and the online instructions aren't available at this time. Then I've got 2 more holes over here for connecting to the other hidden shoulder plate. There's a large number of holes drilled in the back. I have a dozen in 3 groups of 4 to take the rear mounted aluminium brackets, and then I have 4 more which will be used to secure the webbing that runs down from the tabs up here. And finally, either side, I have got holes and slots for securing the wider webbing that will come through to fix the side points of the armour of the back plate directly to the chest plate. The shoulders are of course symmetrical, and on the largest component we've got a slot at the front for some narrow webbing to pass through, and then that webbing will then be riveted in place at these 2 points where I've drilled holes here. The shoulder bells just require 3 holes for rivets. This piece will connect to the epaulettes and also to the tab, and then here we will run a strap of webbing across that will support the tab. The tab itself has a single hole for a rivet and a slot at the back for some webbing to go through to hold it there. I need to add that you also need 2 holes for rivets at the back of the epaulettes on the inside to secure the webbing strap that will support the shoulders. This was brought to my attention while I was in the process of assembling the armour. The lower back plate, abdomen plate and groin plate all require 2 holes each. In the abdomen plate, it's simply 2 holes drilled for rivets either side. These will hold it to the vinyl abdomen pad. Likewise with the groin plate, 2 holes for rivets that will hold it to the abdomen pad. And then on the lower back plate, I just cut 2 slots which match up roughly with the holes at the bottom of the main back plate, and that's because the same strap of webbing that runs down the back will thread through these holes and then back again. As with the shoulder armour, the leg armour is also symmetrical. We'll start with the knee pad, where I've just got 4 holes drilled for rivets. The upper 2 are for the strap that actually holds the knee pad against your leg, and the lower 2 will connect it via webbing strips to the shin plates. The shin plates have 2 holes to match those in the knee pad. A further 2 in these indentations. These will take the clips that hold the 2 halves of the armour together on the outside of your leg, and then on the inside I have 2 holes drilled to take straps that will hold them together on that side. Now the lower hole on each side lines up roughly. The upper hole is slightly higher up, really where the armour is starting to flare out more. And then on the rear I've got holes that match up, so those take the clips, and on the other side these will just use webbing straps to connect directly together. So the armour is now completely cut and drilled, ready to be stuck together. The softness of the plastic again came in useful. I only needed simple hand tools in the form of a side cutter and a hand drill to be able to make all the necessary holes. It took about an evening overall, 4 maybe 5 hours. And now I will start to look at the aluminium brackets. There are 3 metal brackets like this, and all of these fit directly to the back plate, and I'm going to fit these immediately before spraying because I want to paint them the same as the back plate. And here you see the 2 I've already fitted. They're secured with a rivet at each corner, and if I flip this over you'll see there's also a metal washer inside so that the rivet is gripping metal to metal rather than metal to plastic. This is the other sort of bracket that's included in the kit, and I'm going to take 4 of these and fit them to these curved clips for webbing, and these will be used to hold the shin armour together. You'll notice I've bent these around roughly in the middle so the holes line up, and I've not closed these yet because I want to be able to remove the bracket ready to spray it, and only then will I fit it to the shin armour. And it goes here at the side, connected to the front armour plate on the outside of your leg. And that's done twice. And now that I've got these done, the armour is ready to be sprayed. Here we have the base coated armour. I gave it a black undercoat and then a dark green base coat, all with spray. And you'll see I've also now fixed the clips in place on the front shin guards. There are a few spots on the armour where I've missed it with a spray or it's become chipped off. I'm not that worried about these at this stage, because now I'm going to apply the camouflage pattern and I'll just be able to paint over those by hand. Here is the armour with the camouflage pattern applied to it. This has used 3 different shades of brown and then 1 other shade of green in addition to the dark green base coat that was sprayed on first. And finally some details have been painted on using a bone colour just around the edges of some of the blocks. And now that this is complete, the time has come to actually stick the armour together. I'm starting by attaching the webbing strap that will run under the hidden shoulder piece on the left shoulder. This uses some of the narrow webbing, and you can see this here. Now this webbing does have a tendency to fray at the edges, so what I've done is, since this bit's going to be out of sight, I've just put some super glue along here which binds all of this together, and I've also put some super glue just around this rivet before we put the washer on, so hopefully that won't all just fray and come apart after I've fixed it in place. So after I riveted the left side hidden shoulder piece in place, I then moved on to the right side piece, and as you can see this is a bit more complicated owing to the presence of this clip here on the breastplate. Now this uses wider webbing, and the rivets hold this piece in place here, and this is just looped back on itself, so it threads through the clip and then back through the slot. Just attach that. You can see it's the female end on there. Then here I have another length riveted in place on the back plate that threads through the shoulder piece and then goes through the male half of the connector. Now because this end is exposed, I've sewn off the end to help prevent fraying rather than gluing it like I have at the other ends. The webbing straps that hold the front and back plates together use the wider webbing and the remainder of the larger clips. I've got the female on the chest plate and the male on the back plate. Once again, I've actually stitched the end that will be visible, and then on the inside I've used some super glue to prevent fraying, and it's riveted with 2 rivets per piece of webbing. The shoulder epaulettes and lower back plate are next, and for these I start at the front here with this socket, and I feed the webbing through the slot from the inside, through the socket, and then back through the slot underneath so that I can secure it with that rivet. And again I've used some super glue along the end of the webbing so that it won't fray. The webbing then continues all the way around the epaulette. A second rivet holds it in place here, and it continues to the base where the 2 rivets I initially overlooked are located. After that, they feed through these slots in the raised tabs on the back plate. Coming down the inside of the armour, the strap is secured with another rivet about halfway down. You can probably tell here that puts it just above where the aluminium brackets are located on the outside. And after that, it comes all the way down to the lower back plate where it threads through from the outside. It loops back in and up to where it is secured against itself with another rivet just near the bottom of the back plate. The shoulder bells and tabs are connected beneath the epaulettes, and if I turn this over you can see I've used the wider webbing to provide a support here. I use this because I've got a lot of this thickness of webbing left over. First of all, there's a short length of it between the 2 halves of the shoulder bell that provides a support for the tab, and then a longer piece runs from the tab being secured with a rivet through both bits of webbing, goes underneath the bell, and then it loops around the webbing that runs under the epaulette and then comes back before being secured with a rivet under the bell again. The next thing to be added are the grenade straps, and we need to make 2 of these. Now the first thing you'll probably notice about this is that I'm using some green webbing here for the actual grenade holding parts and for the clip at the top, and also that it terminates in a metal end piece. That webbing doesn't come with the kit. All of the webbing that is included is plain black and doesn't have end pieces. This comes from an airsoft gun sling, and I decided to use this instead of the supplied webbing just because of its colour. The base of the grenade strap, however, this thicker green webbing does come with the kit. You get 2 pieces, and you need to make a loop down at the bottom that will thread around the belt as shown here. Now again, this belt's not part of the kit, but these are easy to pick up very cheaply from a wide variety of places. And after you've secured the loop around the belt. It runs up the front of the armour to just past the base of the shoulder epaulette. Then fold the corners over for a diagonal taper like so. And then the narrow webbing extends up from there so the clip can fit to the mating half, which we fixed to the epaulette earlier. Now, the sections that actually hold the grenades in are just stitched to the front of the webbing, and all I did was first I sewed that bit in place, then using a replica grenade I wrapped the webbing around tightly so that I knew exactly where to stitch there so that it was gripped, left a small gap, stitched across, and then repeated the process until I had 4 loops. And then I made a second one, so I've got right and left. I'm going to complete the main body of the armour using this mysterious strip of vinyl here, and this is going to be fitted around the neck so that it lines both the front and the back necklines. I've now added the vinyl strip to the top of the chest and back plates around where the neck would be. I've just stuck this down with super glue and folded it back under, and that completes the main sort of body armour of the kit. The vinyl abdominal pad is not part of the main kit, but it's available separately from Chef's Creations, so I bought one at the same time. Now, to the bottom of this you fix the groin panel, and this is just held in place by 2 rivets. You can poke through the abdominal pad with something sharp, and then again you just use the metal washers, so you've got metal to metal rather than metal to, in this case, vinyl. Further up we have got the actual front abdominal pad. Again, this is held in place just with a couple of rivets, and this should be aligned so that when you're wearing this pad, the base of the chest plate will be just above this. Effectively the belt will go over the abdominal plate. Now if I turn the pad over, you can also see I've used 2 more of the metal brackets to help reinforce the rivets that keep the abdominal plate on. The groin plate doesn't need those, it's not as large. And you can also see here the crotch strap assembly, which I have just stitched to the vinyl. I've hooked it underneath there, and over here it's just stitched onto this side, so that wraps around your waist and then will feed through your legs from behind. Now we move on to connecting all the shin and knee armour together. I've got here the right leg components, and the first thing I did was to work on these clips on the outer edge. Of course, we already have the female sections connected to the front shin plate, and now I've attached webbing to the rear shin plate and threaded that through the male part of the clips so they will line up and snap closed. On the inside, to connect the inside seam together, there are 2 short lengths of webbing riveted onto both front and back plates. Again, you'll notice I've used some of the wider webbing here just to use it up. And then further up, again we have 2 short lengths of webbing which connect to the inside of the knee plate. We also have this band that goes around the back of your leg, and this is 2 sets of webbing and this sort of hinged clasp here, which you can see I've fixed the webbing to using a single rivet. The armour is now fully assembled, but it's not quite complete yet because I want to go around and pick out all places where there are exposed rivets that show up against the paint and paint over them. I'll also pick out any areas where the paint has become scratched during the assembly process and clean that up as well. In addition, I'm going to add some personalisation to the armour. And here we have the completed armour in all of its glory. You can see I've added a logo to the chest plate. It says "Bugs don't surf" with an alien on a surfboard, a play on words there from the film Apocalypse Now. And I've also added a slogan in Latin to the left shoulder. I've added some bits of padding to it inside the leg armour, so it grips my shins properly, doesn't just slide down and rattle about, and just underneath the shoulders at either side, so that the rivets at the back don't dig into me. Now, if you don't like the idea of having to assemble this armour yourself, Chef's Creations also will provide it pre-assembled for an extra fee. I was a cheapskate, so I went for the kit option. He also does a helmet. This is not a Chef's Creations helmet. This is one I put together myself some time ago at home out of various spare parts. The sling came from Chef's Creations for my pulse rifle. The pulse rifle itself came from eBay. I'm wearing British Army camo. The proper, or at least almost screen accurate camo is something else you can get from Chef's Creations. And that's about it really. I hope you've enjoyed watching this process. Thanks for watching.